Hey everyone, this is Deadpool Negative. I know it's been quite a while. It's my last video. That's because I've been working on this and it's taken a lot of long um, hospital doctor visits that basically say I have to go to another doctor. And but I want to get some review out before June ended. And today I'm going to start with I don't need your Civil War Unmasked. For some reason, I got the Magic the Gathering card covers. I don't know why. Probably because I like Marvel, but I don't. Probably because I like Marvel, but I don't like Magic the Gathering. I just thought it was funny. Um, what's also funny is this is issue 2 and it's about Spider-Man, and this is issue 1 and it's about Tony Stark. Uh, quick, uh, quick. Try to get through this as fast as possible. I think, like Identity Crisis did to DC, Civil War did truly irreparable damage to Marvel and its characters, and it's never quite recovered from it. DC at least had the brains to say the Identity Crisis never happened at one point. Um, but the Civil War happened, and it's been 20 years since the storyline. I'm not angry about it. I'm just sad um, because it turned so many characters into monsters and idiots. And even in the case of Iron Man, 20 years later, nobody's had the balls to say, okay, have the character say, okay, I thought I was justified, but I was wrong, and I messed everything up. And I just want some redemption and give him a real redemption arc. Um, uh, like most Iron Man writers these days are so nervous about writing a rich dude that come from a wealthy family that they just kind of seize up and try to write around it. I mean, look what Kieran Gillen did. He was so disgusted about having a rich guy, he twisted it so Tony's parents weren't his parents. And then Bendis came in and he wanted to make the point that Tony wanted to be his own man, but then Bendis came in and ruined that. But I'm getting off topic. I think turning Iron Man into a monster didn't help. There have been some good Iron Man comics since then. Like Iron Man's the focus of the first issue, so talk about that first. I think Civil War is works best as a satire, using Marvel characters as representations of the Bush um, people and the Democratic people back then during the Great War and Terror. But like most Miller works of satire, he can't really manage to say anything more interesting than this sucks and you're all stupid. And that's pretty much what Civil War does. It sucks and everyone in it sucks and is stupid. He doesn't really take it seriously as a story. A lot of the tie-in writers did. Um, and one of them was J. Michael Straczynski, who wrote Iron Man as a straight-up monster. Now, the Naufs, Daniel and Charles Nauf, who were writing Iron Man at the time, one, Amazing Spider-Man was outselling the book 3-1 at the time. Two, they only had thanks to Warren Ellis, they only had 2 tie-in issues of Civil War to do. I mean, they were stuck with that, so they tried their best. And considering that Daniel Nauf would probably, if he listened to me on my politics, would probably have me in a internment camp, they showed admirable restraint in what they did with Iron Man as director of Shield for the year or so they wrote after it. I think they handled it well. I think Stuart Moore handled it well. I think when Tony was out of Shield was when the troubles began. But during Civil War, there was because of the constant delays, there was a one-shot called Iron Man Captain America Casualties of War, drawn by Jeremy Hahn, and for the purposes of this miniseries, written by Christos Gage. And it was a great one-shot. And if you actually put it in the middle of Civil War, it's actually more readable. Makes the meaning more readable because it presents Captain America and Iron Man as rational actors as opposed to shitty mouthpieces for whatever weird point Miller wants to make about American politics. But one of the points of the story is that Tony's doing all of this because he's afraid of Project Wide Awake, which would mean the government finally building the Sentinel Army that will crush all superheroes and bring about Days of Future Past. And there's a great scene where he says, like, look, when I was a Secretary of Defense, I read this, found out about this. They're going to try and do it. I got to find a way to make it better, make superhero, like, put everyone in control so they don't actually do this. So that's what this story focuses on. The first issue focuses on, called Why We Fight, focuses on, Emma Frost trying to recruit the X-Men, and of course for the Civil War, and of course it doesn't work, and there's no stupid Emma and Tony slept together line, which I thought was it just wound up giving us the Jerry Duggan run. So I wasn't happy about that. It was just it's just a cheap one-liner. But Bishop is willing to take Tony to the world of his future and show it, and he will see, this is the world where the Sentinels won. And they run into a classic Claremont X-Men villain, I should say, because he only really showed up when Claremont was writing this series. Granted, Claremont was writing the series for very long. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool fight and adventure scene, but it really doesn't have much juice in it because it's kind of a lead balloon of the story. Like, they fight Nimrod, they win. Oh, I gave it away. The only thing that really feels like it's adding something to the original context is the final conversation Tony has with the president, where the president basically implies Project Wide Awake is happening whether you like it or not. Unless you actually succeed at this. And while, it gives decent added context to what Tony was doing. It would be nice if somebody given to Matt Fraction the Casualties of War one-shot to read. I think that would have helped him a lot. So I can't really say issue 1 is a banger, but the action sequences by artist Edgar Salazar are absolutely fantastic. Just look at this. Edgar Salazar is a veteran of a lot of the Dynamite books. He's finally making his transition to the big two. He's really going for, I hate this term, widescreen. Pretty interesting. And Iron Man comes up with a pretty interesting way of getting rid of Nimrod. Iron Man and Bishop, I should say. It's an Iron Man. It's a Marvel team up, Bishop and Iron Man. So it's not bad. But as a first issue, while I admire Larry, Christos Gage is really a writer who has understood the Marvel characters for the past 20 years better than a lot of people, and he continues that with this story. And while I can't really say it was great or that good, I have to say I did enjoy it for what it was. Now the second issue, Crossing the Rubicon, is actually really good. It doesn't answer the question I'm always been confused with, is why. Now, if you actually read the issue where Tony tries to convince Peter to reveal his identity, he says it specifically. Read the dialogue. People will ask questions if this Daily Bugle cameraman is hanging around me all this time. You've got to reveal your identity. That, and that is the reason. That is the sole stated reason Joe Straczynski is lazy. It's just a dumb moment bit. He just couldn't. He really had no time to work on this script, and he came up with, okay, they'll do that. It's like how in One More Day, Iron Man can't give Peter any money for May's care, but Jarvis can. Iron Man's butler can give him money. Ugh. And Gage entirely skips over that. He just comes with the question of, Peter trying to deal with the consequences of revealing his identity, finding out he's going to get paid, finding out he's going to have, you see the speech that was in the comic rehearsed with Tony Stark. But I like it because it's a story about Peter Parker being a mature adult, and there's some jokes, but there's no, how do I put this? There's no May and Mary Jane get their voices heard too. I think what it is about the fact that what happened in the destruction in Stamford, which was nothing compared to the Brood blowing up a town of 3,000, or 50,000 people dying in Miss Marvel, or 50,000 people dying in Washington in Avengers, was kind of small potato. It was a sign that superheroes in the Marvel universe might need to grow up. Maybe the Registration Act is a good idea. And Peter, it's about Peter wanting to grow up, Peter wanting to be a mature adult and do what he thinks is the best thing for the superhero community, which is to reveal his identity to show that it can be secure. I'm not 100% sold on that, but this is what's in it. And another thing, Salazar does a nice job telling without the action sequence, just talking scenes. And there's a really great bit at the end where Peter is given a reason to feel unsure about his choices. But Gage does it in a very witty, very interesting way. And it's about, it's the kind of characterization he's known for, he's good at. And that's why I appreciate reading his stuff after all these years, and why he's probably the best person to do this Unmasked series. There's going to be 3 more issues that I can understand. The next 2 will focus on Giant Man 2 and Tigra. 2 characters that are also really ill-served by that storyline. I remember a Giant Man 2 doing damage control. There was a point where they were going to do damage control by Dwayne McDuffie, but he wasn't interested in writing Giant Man 2, so that never materialized. I also want to say Morry Hollowell is the only original. He does a great job making the color look like the time of Steve McNiven around the original series, and it really fits in. So I want to say, if you like Civil War Unmasked, you'll like these books. If you didn't like Civil War Unmasked, you'll like these books. So that's giving them my recommendation. Hopefully I'll have more to say, and I'll talk to you later.